a brief review of angles and elevation and depression from section 8.5. The first problem we're going to do is pretty straightforward. We have a right triangle, and they gave us some information about the height of the building and the distance of the shadow. And so if you look, we have information about this angle and what's across from it, or we call it opposite, and we want the adjacent. So this is what we're solving for. So since it's opposite and adjacent, we're going to use tangent. So the tangent of 60 degrees is equal to the opposite, which is 35 feet, over the adjacent. And if you rearrange the formula, you'll get that x is equal to 35 divided by the tangent of 60 degrees. Now, whenever you're solving for anything to do with trigonometry, you want to make sure you're in the right mode. In this case, we want to be in degree mode. And so if you divide 35 by the tangent of 60 degrees, you'll get 20.2 is equal to x, which is the measure of the shadow, so it's in feet. And that's how you do it. Now, what happens if you don't have all of that information? Not all of them are that straightforward. So the next one, we're going to talk about how Angie is in a hot air balloon. There's a couple angles of elevation. She steps back. And so there's basically two triangles here. Now, what are they asking for in this question? They're actually asking for the height of the balloon. So they want to know, this is the answer. They want to know this height. So when we solve for x, we want to make sure we add the height of Angie to x, because that's actually what they're asking for. So let's look at our two different formulas that we can use. So if we look at the small triangle, the tangent of 40 degrees is equal to the opposite, which is x, over y. If you look at the large triangle, the formula is that the tangent of 10 degrees is equal to x, which is the opposite, over 200 plus y. Okay, so we had to add them together because that's the whole adjacent side to the 10-degree angle. All right, we're going to ignore the fact that Angie is 5.5 feet tall at this moment. Now, we have two variables, and so we can't solve equations that have two variables. We need to narrow it down to just one variable. Since x is part of our answer, we want to leave x and try to rearrange them so that we can solve for y. So if we rearrange the first formula, we get that y is equal to x over the tangent of 40 degrees. And if we rearrange this formula, it's a little bit more involved. We get 200 plus y times the tangent of 10 degrees is equal to x, and we want to solve for y. So 200 times the tangent of 10 degrees plus y times the tangent of 10 degrees is equal to x. I just distributed. Then I subtract this. It's being multiplied, so we're going to keep it all together. Okay, so we get y times the tangent of 10 degrees is equal to x minus 200 times the tangent of 10 degrees. And we divide by tangent of 10. We divide by the tangent of 10. And so y is equal to x minus 200 times the tangent of 10 degrees divided by the tangent of 10 degrees. Now it looks kind of ugly, but it's right. If y is equal to this for the large triangle and y is also equal to this for the small triangle, we can simply set these two equal to each other. Because if y is equal to 4 and y is equal to 10, or excuse me, 10x, then you can just set 4 and 10x together, equal to each other. Okay, so we're going to rearrange it and do all that. So we're going to put it all together. X over the tangent of 40 degrees is equal to x minus 200 tangent of 10. I'm just putting it all together, and then I'll start putting things in my calculator to make it look a little prettier. Okay, so we have this whole mess here. Okay, so if you look at this side, we have x over the tangent of 40 degrees. And if we subtract this x over tangent of 10 degrees, we can get our x's on one side. All right, it's kind of kind of ugly looking, but that's okay. So if it's x divided by the tangent of 40 degrees, it's the same thing as saying 1 over the tangent of 4 degrees times x. So I'm going to say 1 divided by the tangent of 40 degrees, and that's going to give me about 1.19. So it's about 1.19 times x. And then if I take 1 divided by the tangent of 10 degrees, I get 0.18x approximately is equal to, and then I'm going to go ahead and type in negative 200 times the tangent of 10 degrees, and then divide that by the tangent of 10 degrees. And so I get, guess what? These two cancel, negative 200. All right, so now I want to go ahead and solve for x. So I'm going to need to subtract 1.19 minus 0.18, but I'm not going to round it. I'm going to go ahead and use the numbers that are in here. So I'm going to go up to 1.19. I'm going to subtract 0.18, and I'll get 1.015. So that's approximately what I get. 1.015x is equal to negative 200. Now I want to divide both sides. Okay, so I'll take negative 200, and I'm going to divide it by that number that I received, just calculated, and I get negative 196.96, which is wrong. Okay, so I'm